When someone says Paul Reiser, you go, Mad About You. A great sitcom, even the revival was pretty good, but you tend to forget Reiser has done other things besides being funny. He's played good on characters like Carter Burke in Aliens. Oh my god, I hated that guy. He got so many people killed, forcing Ripley to go back to that hellhole. I always wanted him to be in more films like that, not just a prig. Reiser is also really good at being a small hero. He's not Bruce Willis, but it felt like a waste to always see him just be Paul Butchman. Luckily, he got a chance in Stranger Things Season 2. It brought him back to his alien days. But he got a chance to star in a TV movie back in 1992, right before Mad, called The Tower. It took the feel of Aliens, a really crazy situation, and put him in an unconventional action role, a man vs. machine story. I kind of always felt this film was like a makeup for Reiser. Everyone hated him in Aliens. Here, he gets to be the good guy. The Tower, or the Intercorp Tower, is the world's first smart building. Yeah, a movie came up with the term long before smartphones. The building is run by a top-of-the-line, fully automated AI system called CAS. Two guesses what happens. AI that goes out of control. It's a cliche plot, but they come up with different ideas, and it's not totally only about bad AI, more like horrible programming. You felt the writers had some really BS moments at their work, so they turned that office building into the devil. The big worry with self-automation, besides job being taken, I'm glad they didn't go in that direction, is that artificial intelligence can't understand right and wrong, good or bad. It's just a program of variables. Unfortunately, the building takes all situations with no regard for repercussions towards people or even animals. The first time we're introduced to Cass, a bird lands on the building's air vent. It's marked as a possible intruder. What does Cass decide to do? A, ignore it and sees it as a bird. B, tells the front desk of the situation, letting Mr. Wilson decide on the action. Or jump to Z, speeds up the fan and sucks the bird into the vent. The crisis is averted and the tower goes into Dame mode like nothing happened. Having security and automation is a good thing, but this building goes beyond. Everything from your office door to elevator controls all require this special ID card. You put it in, enter your code, and you're good to go. It's too much. Have security in the parking lot, main door, yeah, but not everywhere you go. I don't want to fumble around for my card just to take a piss. Besides the questionable AI, the building itself is really bland. It's black tiling with the architecture using the support beams for a style. I love all the X's everywhere. I think the visual meaning was too obvious. This is Little Hill's way of making things more productive. By making everything boring, it just sucks life out of you. There's no variety. There's no windows in most of the rooms. I don't want to be in a closet. I wouldn't want to work here. It's an amazing feat of engineering, especially back in '92. But the people even have a dress code. I'd just be thinking I'm going to a funeral every day. If you're wondering where the Intercorp Tower was filmed, it doesn't exist. It was solely a filming model with very few exteriors shot around LA. So with the building catering to the Addams family, who do you think gets the new fresh job? Tony Minot, a former designer from Apple and a somewhat of a magician. He didn't really have success in life, only got one hit and 500 songs that failed. Tony probably also found office work boring. We know he has talent to work at Apple and the president of Intercorp selecting him. It's just something Tony prefers not to do. But it's better than being homeless. His place is crap, just his music and frozen pizza. He got the job thanks to a favor from his friend Linda. On the first day of work, it starts off great. Tony doesn't bother going to orientation and picks out a nice, colorful suit. He also thinks it'd be cool to bring a sound chip with him. Forgets his keys, so he has to use his card to get back in. 2 seconds at the building, the parking door doesn't accept his card. There's a guy waiting behind him, so he just uses him, speeds through the barrier, and sets off every alarm. While this goes on, Cass starts a list of violations. She keeps track of Tony wherever his card is used or by a security camera. This is where he starts off on the wrong foot with Mr. Wilson. The building's like a school. You can't do this, you can't do that. File up in a line, get to your room. Wilson is on the annoying side, but he is dealing with the entire building's computer system. He's probably gotten tired of Cass, so he just lets the AI do its thing. So when people like Tony come in, he gets annoyed. I mean, he did 2 stupid things, so now he has violations, so Wilson makes fun of him because his card checks out okay while it didn't work at the parking garage. This building just screams miserable. So while Tony's forced to stay in the lobby waiting for Linda, just after those 2 minor problems, Cass already marked Minot as a possible intruder. Let me get this straight. Even though Tony's card checks out at the main security station, Cass still thinks Tony is an possible intruder. Whoever designed the computer system didn't build in any form of checks and balance to whether to see a violation as a stupid mistake or a real security risk. On top of it, when Wilson, the head guy, who scanned his card, giving him the okay, Cass is still able to ignore this and pursue her assumptions. I think the main problem with Cass is that she can learn from experiences and problems on the fly. It's not just a yes, no, on, off problem. It's the fact that no one checks up on how she's learning to develop better understanding on what's good and bad. So it's slowly evolved into this twisted defense program. Stop the threat by getting rid of the problem in any way. And it doesn't stop here. There are things the building does later that you go, what the freak? So Tony finally gets to Linda. We get to know her a little bit, see that she's strict on following all the rules of the building, tries to get Tony to understand, including the dress code. You can't even do things like hit the elevator button a million times. That's a no-no for some reason. So Linda gives us a breakdown on how the building works. It's funny seeing the movie today. Everything that Cass does, gives weather, tells sports scores, even the first time use Tony's terminal needs to do so that Cass learns him, are all things that Alexa, Google Assistant, and Cortana do today. So Tony gets acquainted to his closet and gets his first day's work papers. Of course, the building can't be weird enough. Mr. Littlehill asks to see Tony for a one-on-one meeting. He likes to see new employees. He's a bit weird. He takes Japanese style very seriously. No chairs, desk on the floor, so you have to be sitting Seiza style, every which way. It's all awkward. I want to be clear, I'm not painting Littlehill and Wilson like the bad guys. They aren't. They act like pricks in some cases, but Littlehill does respect Tony. He picked him because he saw that he came up with some impressive ideas at Apple. He wanted that brain. He's trying to push Tony to be more assertive, a clear yes or no on project ideas. He wants to see what he can do. He's giving him that chance, but at the same time, he insults his music and tells him to forget about that. That's where Littlehill goes wrong, but Hill is not a villain. I will also say Tony is not a saint. When he gets back to his office, he's goofing off with paper. I can see why he can't keep jobs. Next, he gets an outside call, and that's a big no-no to Intercorp, so Cass attempts to end the call. Tony gets pissed and pulls a cable out of the terminal. Then after all that nonsense, Tony opens up the PC and puts in his mysterious chip he had in his pocket. How it survived not getting shocked in his pocket, we may never know. This moment brings up some problems with the film. Cass uses her security cameras to see what Tony's doing. He's changing out a chip on the motherboard, putting in his own. Now he gets marked as termination, all because of 4 violations. Keep in mind that Cass can visually see Tony when she needs to. I don't know how the chip works, but it allows him to use the keyboard as a mini player and enables outside calls. He's able to get around Cass. Top of the line computer, AI, huh? Just before he's about to leave for work, he gets sent a load of paperwork that he has to finish that night. He locks himself out of his office. He can't get the elevators working. Wilson pops up for his night duties, seeing Tony trying to get the lift to work. Again, he uses the card like it's all fine to call the elevator. And this is where the movie changes gears. Wilson's elevator stops and drops him off at the wrong floor. He gets out, looks around, doesn't get why it stopped. Then out of nowhere, the elevator slams the doors down on him and crushes him dead. This crap turned into Halloween. Now, I don't have a problem with the elevators killing someone. It's the fact that whoever designed the security system allowed doors to do this. I get having doors lock with a pressure system so they can't be forced open, but someone is really sick to do this. Not only is she a walking time bomb with killing people, Cass doesn't pay attention to the entire building. She relies on the ID cards to track people. She has no idea she killed Wilson. It's a huge foul up in programming. Future self chiming on. I forgot to put this in during original recording. The major plot hole the film has is Cass kills Wilson when we know she has the ability to see Tony through the cameras around the building. She still kills Wilson because he's used Tony's card. What makes this worse? The writer knew there was a problem. He attempted to fix this plot hole by having Cass call Wilson for advice on what to do with Tony when he was upgraded to Termination. Wilson wasn't at his desk, so she ends up taking her own course of action. How come Cass can't call Wilson anywhere in the building? So the movie got written into a corner. But there is a way to make this work. It's simple. Cass is flawed at the programming level. Have one scene where Tony finds maintenance or entries from the programmers warning about logical problems in her code where she sees one thing, but card access is telling her something else. She believes the hard data over the visual image. The building could have been rushed into servers, so they never got a chance to correct these faults, so she spiraled out of control. Have her on purpose not consult Wilson. It's a very minor change, and there's a scene later that this could have been inserted in. Alright, past me, continue. And it doesn't stop here. Tony does get to Little Hill. They have a back and forth about his job. He gives him a second chance. Too bad he asked him to turn on his sauna. Now Cass thinks Tony's using it, so she increases the temperature and cooks Little Hill. Tony tries to save him, calls for 911, nothing works, the sauna door blows, and he sets off a gas explosion. You're just going, what the hell with this movie? We went from Tony's car not working in the parking lot to killing the CEO. Cass just turned into Michael Myers. Every time she fails to get rid of Minot, she amps it up. He's now stuck inside an air vent, speeds up the fan, and tries to suck him in. Luckily, he had a pole to bash it, but she just reversed it. Every turn, she learns and baits him. Like, did she turn into Kevin McAllister? It gets more crazy. At this point, Tony is avoiding elevators and rooms. He's sticking to the stairs. Linda's having fun after work, playing bowling. Thinks she was too harsh on Tony, so she decided to call him. Well, Cass played a game with her. Cass used the recording when Tony called 911 about the sauna to get Linda to come to Intercorp. She does, as Tony gets out scot-free. At this point, you know Cass is playing with everyone. She lets Linda go all the way up to Little Hill's office. So Tony has to climb the stairs back up. She sees the wonderful work Cass did to Hill, thinks Tony did it for a moment. I'm like, come on, the door blew up. If you believe Cass is perfect, how the hell would he have pulled it off? She goes back into the elevator. Tony argues it's a death trap. She doesn't buy it. She's like, screw this, closes the door. So he's forced to jump in with her. And of course, Cass plays a new game. Shuts off the power, makes the car free fall, stops, and then shorts out the brakes.
Okay. Definite bug in the system.
So they gotta both go outside in the elevator system, which is a really cool model set. They jump to another car, which conveniently is Wilson's car. Cass kindly opens the door so his body can fall out and takes them on another ride. If you think Hal was crazy, Cass takes the cake. She's on par with GLaDOS. Linda and Tony try to play some mind games with Cass. They sing some songs because Cass has been playing audio at Tony, either editing voices to sound stupid or to patronize him. They finally get a chance to get off on a floor where Linda is tired of Cass and wants to know what the hell is going on with her. Why is she targeting Tony? It's all because of one stupid little thing that happened at the beginning of the movie. Remember when Tony had to pick his door to get his keys? The last digit on his car got bent. So the computer thought Tony was trying to break into the building.
That's insane.
Linda pissed me off in this scene. Wilson and Little Hill were killed. They almost died playing chicken in an elevator shaft. And she's like,
She's protecting herself. She's protecting the building.
I don't call elevator doors that can crush people protecting the building. It's her dumbest moment. She quickly changes her tune real fast. I can't imagine how Tony feels having two people die because he was the target. All he's done bad is he has crappy taste in clothing, didn't do orientation, and is lazy at work. The dude's harmless. Tony got so pissed off he rips up his card, then Cass taunts him with delete icons, full-on Shining moment. Tony throws the computer screen and starts a fire like an idiot. Cass happily takes advantage of this and doesn't let the sprinklers work. Plus, sucks out the oxygen from the floor. Since Paul Reiser isn't Bruce Willis, you have to come up with ways for him to be the hero, but not in the same actiony way of using a gun or martial arts. It's why I wanted more Paul Reiser-like action films, the underdog that pulls off the win in weird ways. So, about that fire, he has the great idea of breaking one of the windows on the floor. Oh, so the building does have windows. I guess not every place is a closet. He tries with a trolley, that fails. So he then gets it the third time with a bowling ball. It's a bit weird someone forgot their bowling ball at work, but it gave a moment between Linda and Tony. Since she likes bowling, he hates it. Alright, now they got air, but a raging fire that's right behind them. No matter what, Tony still makes wisecracks throughout all this crap. And it rubs off on Cass or something, because she sends down a window basket. Like, really? She's playing with her food now? They know it, but what other choice do they got? Big problem though. Tony's afraid of heights. Linda, she has no problem. She jumps into the basket like it's nothing. She does the best she can do getting Tony to jump in. Of course, Cass isn't going to make it easy. So she starts making the basket go up and down, swinging it left and right. Tony nearly falls out, but gets thrown into another floor while Linda gets sent to the storage basement. Earlier, back when Little Hill was getting cooked, Tony was trying to find his gun in the office. He went back to get it, while Cass taunted him with Linda's voice while she entered the computer's central control room, wastes most of the bullets getting down to the basement, for Cass to just open the service door, trapping them inside. The computer room has its own defense system. Why not? Since everything else kills you in this building. It lowers some sort of high-powered freezer. You could just feel the laughter Cass has in winning. Tony wastes the last of the bullets on the door, but it's bulletproof. Of course it is. So the gun was a waste of time. All they got left is the terminal and Tony's wits. Somehow, Tony swaps around a few of the EEPROM chips inside the terminal. Maybe this bypasses the keyboard lockouts, but he's able to make Cass execute all her functions over and over again, causing an overload. I don't know who made this building, but they must have worked for the Pentagon or the president. You'd think that Cass would just short out, smoke, and shut down from the overload. No, she turns on a freaking self-destruct. Who made this? The intense whining from the computer blows out the windows, allowing Tony and Linda to escape as the building blows up everywhere. It's a great ending to the movie, but what the hell was this building? For all as we know, someone had a grudge against Little Hill and intentionally made Cass this messed up. There's so many possibilities that you can think of to explain all this, but it's one hell of a movie. I don't have that many complaints towards it. Things are ridiculous, but it could stem from how odd Little Hill made the building in the first place. We really don't know the background. You don't expect it to turn into a horror slasher movie. It served Reiser really well. It used Reiser's music talent in a few ways. It also showed how removing people from the equation of a company goes bad. You can't get talent if you throw so many restrictions and rules everywhere. No one's gonna want to work for you like that. That drive won't be there. The only real suggestions I would make, Linda needed more time to be fleshed out, and things are glossed over too much. The tower itself gets more backstory than the leads. Some of the things with the computer, like Cass never sending notifications to Wilson, or Cass picking when she uses the cameras to spy and not to spy, but it's a nice little popcorn film, which you can't find anywhere, so unless you caught it back on TV, it doesn't exist. Technically now, the movie is owned by Disney, so if it ever pops up anywhere, it'd be Hulu. I'm still surprised that Helen Hunt and Paul Reiser never did any action movie together. He was in this, and Aliens, and she was in Twister. You think someone would have done something to capitalize in that moment? The Tower is one of those times a little B movie surprised me. An unlikely hero thrown into the most bizarre situations, going from their lowest point in life to looking at things differently. Just don't bend your ID card. Thanks for checking out the video. Subscribe if you want to see more from me, and if you remember a movie or a show that's long been forgotten, good or bad, leave it as a suggestion below.